because they were concerned about their personal problems. They were concerned about their personal finance. They were concerned about their little children. They were concerned about everything but what God told them to be concerned about. God knows what makes a great nation, and you need to start being concerned about what God says will make you important. My little next little line on my paper says, I hope you will know when I'm talking about you. I hope you know when I'm talking about you. I hope you haven't fooled yourself for so long that you don't know when somebody is trying to help you, but you won't identify with anything that needs help because you're self-sufficient.
I ran across a video, and it was called The Art of Manipulation. The police ran across this video too. It's believed to be a young man who was abused when he was even younger. I believe it has a lot to do with the pastor that we will be talking about today. So happy Sunday. Come right on in, boys and girls and boys. His music, his instruments, his $1 million home in the exclusive Sapphire Shores. The women. I know that there was women, but that's not what he wanted. He preferred the women's sons and grandsons and nephews. The ones he would take on trips with him all throughout America, to Europe and Africa, the young, naive boys that didn't even know any better, but they went with him. Quote, though I be in shackles and chains, I'm innocent of the charges, end quote. That's what he said. That's what the shackled pastor in chains and an orange jumpsuit would say, a far cry from the ethnic wear and designer shades that he often wore. It would be a child 10 years old who would blow the roof off the West Coast Center of Human Development. Henry Lee Porter was the bishop of the West Coast Center of Human Development. Bishop Porter incorporated his church in 1971. Before stepping down in 2016, his son Henry Porter II is now the church pastor. That area of Sarasota, Florida is well known, especially by Henry Porter. Even a street is said to be named in his honor. Several members of the church would come forward with allegations of abuse from the minister, though investigators have uncovered more than a dozen allegations from the adults and even more children. Allegations as far back as 30 years, where the statute of limitations had run out, starting in 1990. His assaulting young boys had started actually in the late 1970s. Assaults taking place at the church, offices, on an air mattress, or in his home. From young boys to the young men. Anything from fondling to full-out intercourse. As many as, again, over 40 children abused by the Father of God or the father figure. There was a room in the church where only Porter had the key, and that's where he would bring his victims. He would bring them inside, and there was graphic descriptions of oral and anal sex that would be given. After the act, they would put their clothes back on. Porter and his victims would pray to the God and confess their faults to one another. Pray first, prayer second. One by one, victims would face Porter and tell their story in court. Quote, he cloaked himself as a father figure, but under the veil was a predator, and we were the prey, end quote. Another victim spoke about at 11 years old, he was assaulted by Porter, and it would set the tone for the rest of his life and the dysfunction that it came with it. Him thinking that this was love. Another victim spoke about how his abuse from the pastor had him hurting others so that he would never be hurt again. Victims being abused from ages 15 to 21 years old. Another victim didn't start healing until he suffered a heart attack and died, and he was revived. And when he was given a second chance at life, he begun his journey to heal. Even with all this trauma and abuse around him, no one showed hatred towards Porter. They have, for the most part, forgiven him. Some had even sent letters to the judge asking for leniency, that Porter was now old, and perhaps even giving him a second chance. These members of the church even believed that Porter was the anointed one. Porter's children even stood next to him. No matter what the sentence was, they said that they loved him and that he would always be their father. I wonder if his children were abused as well. I mean, it would start at home before you would venture out and abuse other people's children. It would start at home. Now Porter listened intensely, with his body hunched forward and his fists closed, to each one that addressed him, never removing his eyes away from theirs. It would take the jury over 3 hours to deliberate. Circuit Court Judge Thomas Krug sentenced Henry Porter to 2 terms of life in prison, to be followed one after the other, so this ex-pastor will not be getting out of prison to violate any more young boys and men. Over 30 years, over 40 children, the torment, the secrets, the lies, the forgiveness, a second chance. I'm sure a great many of them would put their grands and great-grands right there in the front seat for Henry Porter. I do believe that. Hate the sin, but love the sinner, right? And still, I feel that something is still very wrong and off about this entire situation. Anyone that had been touched in horrible ways by Henry Porter, I wish you continuous healing. Amen.
That don't matter to me, that you change the key. It doesn't matter to me that you gave me food to eat. If you want to see me beg, if you want to see me get down on one leg, I love you, I love you, I love you, I love you. Take me back, please. Take me back. 'Cause you know what we had was good. I know I didn't treat you like I should, but what we had was good. Please, your heart can't deny. We both gotta stop that lie. I wanna be in your arms. That's where I belong. Take me back. I love you. Take me back. Oh, take me back.